This video should not be free because I'm about to completely change your experience with Klaviyo. So if you have a Klaviyo account and you're sending email marketing out, campaigns, flows, the whole shebang, you probably have almost no real visibility into what's actually working on a consistent basis. And when you have a question about what's working and what's not, you don't get a direct answer, or you have to go to your agency or in-house team and it's just a whole thing. And so more importantly, you don't have enough visibility into what impact it's actually having on your customer retention and your growth as a brand in general. Because obviously you can go and see open rates, you can go see attributed revenue, but do you know which flows are driving repeat buyers versus one-time purchases? Do you know what impact your email program actually has on lifetime value, or on repurchase rate, or on first year LTV by cohort? Probably not. And that's not a knock on you, obviously. That's just Klaviyo's native reporting doesn't necessarily show you all that. It shows you email activity, not necessarily like the customer behavior, and not retention outcome. So I run an e-commerce marketing agency that manages email and SMS platforms for over 70 e-commerce businesses at this point. And one of the first things that we do when we take on a new account is build a proper reporting layer, one that actually connects to Klaviyo data on what's happening with the retention. And in this video, I'm gonna show you how to build out an AI bot that does exactly that for your brand. So by the end of this video, you'll have a live reporting database built with an AI bot that can answer any of the questions that you have in your Klaviyo data extremely in depth. Let's get into it. So first, let me explain what we're actually going to be building here. So what we're building is an AI reporting system that allows all of your Klaviyo data to feed through to a spreadsheet or like some sort of database, however you want it sent to that database. We're going to be using the Klaviyo API, and we're going to be giving that API to Claude Code on a read-only basis so that it can't actually do anything in your Klaviyo account. It can only pull the data from the account. And then we're going to be building a Slack channel with that bot invited to the channel so that all you have to do is tag the Klaviyo bot and ask it, I want this data report for this date range, or I want to know this stat, and it'll go into Klaviyo and respond to you just directly in Slack with all the information. And not only that, not only will it respond, but it'll give you a CSV file or like a spreadsheet file of all the stuff that you asked it for in terms of like hard data itself. And this is all happening within the span of about a minute. So you can see how powerful this is when you have it built out properly and it can consistently get this data for you and tell you exactly what you're looking for. Because I don't know about you, but we'll commonly just wonder like, hey, in that account, what has been the trend of the open rates in the last 30 days? Or which campaign style is bringing in the most revenue? Or what's been the AOV on orders from that flow specifically? Typically, you'd have to hit up your in-house team or just dive into the data yourself or hit up your agency and then wait days for that report to come back. Now, you can just go into Slack, tag your Klaviyo bot, and it'll tell you immediately. Okay, so now we're gonna jump into the setup instructions. Now, I wanna be super real with you. With a lot of this stuff, there's gonna be a lot of personal API keys and stuff like that that I cannot reveal to you or even risk revealing to you. So I'm not gonna be able to actually jump into things like Claude Code where all my API keys are revealed, or like the Slack app where all my API keys are revealed. I'm gonna be showing you the document, and you can actually get access to this document with the top link in the description. It's going to be completely free. It'll have all the prompts embedded within it. It'll have the exact setup instructions embedded within it. I'm gonna explain to you right now how to set this up and how it all works. I know there will be a few people who are upset that I'm not giving you a live breakdown, but I'm sorry, I literally just can't do that. I thought it'd be best to at least show you guys how to actually set this up still though. So we already discussed what this bot is and what it's capable of doing. Now, just as a heads up before we get into it, you're going to need a Claude Code account or an Anthropic API key in order to use Claude Code to set this up. You're also going to need a Slack workspace where you have the admin access. And then the VPS that we'll be using to make sure that this Klaviyo bot just always runs on its own without any thing needing to be live on your computer is DigitalOcean. There are other VPS providers you could use. DigitalOcean is just my go-to. And again, you could technically run this, I believe, without having a VPS, but this is if you want it to always work for you, and it'll always respond to you, even if your computer's off or something. So it's nice if you happen to be on your phone and you're away from your laptop and you want this to work. You don't need to have Claude Code up and running for it to actively operate because it's running from the VPS. You'll also need a read-only Klaviyo API key like I mentioned. And then you'll have an Ubuntu, I don't know if that's exactly how you say it, 22.04 server running from DigitalOcean, which I'll give you the instructions to set up. Now, the nice part about a lot of this is that if any of this is confusing or overwhelming or sounds complicated, the setup instructions are very simple. And the awesome part about AI is once your Claude Code is up and running, there's obviously a lot of simple tutorials on YouTube on how to get Claude Code up and running. It'll answer your questions for you. So any little kinks or issues that you run into along the way, Claude Code will just help you out with that stuff. So first up is setting up the Slack app. So what you're gonna do for this is you're gonna be going to a Slack website, and that's gonna be this one right here, which is api.slack.com/apps. Again, I'm not gonna pull mine up for privacy reasons, but like I said, any questions, you can literally give Claude Code a screenshot of what you're seeing on your screen and ask it what issue you're running into as you go through these steps, and it will help you out with it. So what you're gonna do there is you're gonna create a new app, you're gonna choose create from scratch, and then you're gonna give it a name. I call ours the Klaviyo Bot. And then very simple, in the left sidebar, you'll see socket mode. You're gonna wanna enable that. Then you're gonna go to OAuth and permissions and enable these OAuth scopes. So these are the list of the scopes you're gonna have to enable there. And then you'll scroll up a bit and click install to your workspace. The actual button will say install to whatever your workspace title is. And then you're gonna go down to the event subscriptions and add these. You'll save the changes, and then you'll bounce over to your Slack desktop application and invite the bot to your channel. You can either do it this way, or you can go to like the channel name and settings, click integrations, add an app, and then click there, and then add the app should show up there for you. So now you've created the Slack bot. That part's really simple, and it's in your channel. I also recommend building a separate Slack channel dedicated to this, because it's nice to just treat that as like the one spot where you actually talk to the Klaviyo bot. But if you already have a channel where you have your other people from your team in it, or your agency or something like that, you can add this bot to that channel and they can just speak with all of them. Now the next step is gonna be getting the Klaviyo API key. Again, this is very simple. All you'll do is in the bottom left of your Klaviyo dashboard, you'll go to settings, and then you're gonna bounce over to API key. Once you're there, you're gonna create a private API key, and you can read it, whatever your name is. We call ours RC read only. I'd probably just title yours read only. And then you're gonna select the read only like API key type. The reason we like to do this is because then we don't have to worry about the API key even having the ability to write or like create things in Klaviyo. It can only pull the data from Klaviyo. And then obviously you'll create the key and copy the actual key itself. And then when you give the key to Claude Code and tell it to like store it for the bot, you're gonna wanna tell Claude Code to put the key in an env file. So I'm not an expert on these files, but what I do know is that they're more secure than typical files, or at least that's how it's been explained to me. And so that way your API key is as secure as possible, because you don't want that getting out. Okay, so now we're gonna be building the actual bot with Claude Code. Even though this part may seem complex, it's actually pretty straightforward. When you're in your Claude Code chat, I like to use mine in a terminal or like an IDE called Anti-Gravity, which comes from Google. You can also just use the Claude Code desktop app, it works just as well. And all you're gonna do is copy and paste this entire prompt right here. And then there are going to be certain variables within this that you're going to need to replace. You can just read through it and add those. Like for example, stuff like this may need to be replaced. Let me repeat that because my chair just squeaked. And then there may be certain parts of this where you'll have to like plug in certain variables. Like for example, at the bottom, we're usually setting up multiple clients. If you're not doing that, then you don't need to set up multiple accounts. You just have your one Klaviyo account, and you'll have like your Slack bot token, your Slack app token, your Anthropic API key, which you got in all these previous steps. And again, to get this full prompt, there's gonna be a link at the top of the description of this video. You can go in, opt in there, you just give me your email address, and then you'll be on my email list, so I'll send you more valuable stuff like this, and then you'll get this prompt totally free. Now, real quick, if you're confused at all, or if any of this seems too complex for you to actually build it yourself, we do this stuff all the time for our clients. So if you want an experienced team that's already doing this, not only like the AI technical stuff, but also like the actual marketing and driving revenue for the brand as well, we're your guys for that. So there's going to be a link in the description if you do want to work with us, have us do this stuff for you, give you updated reports on a consistent weekly basis that includes all this stuff that your current team isn't actively able to get you, then just hit that link in the description. It'll give you all the details on how you can book a call and chat with me, and then we can talk about implementing something like this for your brand. Anyways, back to the video. Okay, so now we get to part 4 here, which is going to be actually deploying this to your VPS. So in DigitalOcean, you're gonna create something called a droplet running, again, Ubuntu 22.04, hopefully I'm saying that correctly. We just use like the $6 a month plan. It's more than enough like storage and RAM that you actually need. And once again, like I said earlier, if you have any issues while setting this up, quite literally just give Claude Code a screenshot of what you're seeing and ask it what you're supposed to do next. And that also goes for the entire setup here. If any of this confuses you or isn't working properly, just tell Claude Code what's going on, copy and paste the stuff from the terminal, or just give it a screenshot and it will help you out. So the steps here are essentially just going to give you things that you're supposed to run in your Mac terminal. Now, if you don't use a Mac, then this might be slightly different, but I know on Mac it's called a terminal. So all you're gonna do to set this up is I have the little search thing on Mac. I'm gonna click on the terminal here, and then it's gonna open this little window, and this is where like coders and developers go to do their stuff. So for example, what you would do is you would take this prompt that it's telling you to give the terminal, and you would paste that here, and then you'll see the terminal give you something back. And so one by one, you would paste this one, and then you'd copy your key and then put your key in here. Then like this one would connect to the server. Again, you're putting your server IP here as it comes up, which you're getting from DigitalOcean. So like just to further explain that for you, in DigitalOcean, when you create this droplet, it's gonna give you like a private and a public API key, an IP address. I believe that IP address is what it's gonna ask you to put here. But again, if you're confused in any of it, ask Claude Code, it will tell you. And so after you've gone through and done all these and it's set everything up and Claude Code has worked you through all the details, I promise you this is worth doing. If you get confused, ask Claude Code, it's gonna be worth it. You'll eventually get to this point where you'll see like Bolt app is running, which means the bot is working and you're doing well. And then you can get down, do this, and it installs it as a persistent service. So at that point, you can close the terminal. Again, I would check with Claude Code in your chat to make sure that you're at the point where you're actually ready to close the terminal and this is working now. And then once it gives you that confirmation and you've tested the bot and it's working, you're good to go. Now, if you do need to add accounts later, these are the steps to do that as well. It's really as simple as getting that new Klaviyo accounts API key that's read-only, and giving it to Claude Code to store it in that same env file. And so now you've done all the work. Now you just need to use the bot itself. So the way we use this is in our Slack channel where we have the Klaviyo bot installed. We simply tag the bot and then we ask it for what we want. And you can be as specific as you want. And like I said at the beginning of the video, it can tell you a direct like information that you're asking for. It can also create CSV files or spreadsheet files with all of the data neatly laid out in the exact way that you're asking for it. Something that we like to do is we have a spreadsheet that we use for weekly and monthly reporting with the clients that we work with. And then what we'll do is we'll show it that spreadsheet and tell it to give us the data that we want in the format that that spreadsheet has, which is obviously very awesome. So I even included a list of example questions here that you could give it, and just to show you some ways that you can use this thing. And so what you'll see is the bot will essentially answer your message in Slack as a thread. You can click in that thread. If you click immediately, you'll see that it's usually saying like, I'm on it, running, pulling your data, something like that. And then it'll come back like usually less than a minute later with the actual content and data itself. So now you have something that most Klaviyo users will never have, which is pure visibility into your data with pretty much zero constraints at all. And not just basic things like open rate and attributed revenue, but like real deep in-depth pictures of what impact your Klaviyo account is actually making on the brand. Now, as you may have seen in this video, some of this stuff can get a little bit confusing and complex. I know, obviously with the setup here and with the link at the top of the description, you'll get the SOP here and this will show you how to build it out. But if you do want an experienced team to just do this for you, since this may be below your dollar per hour, we're your guys to do that. So there's going to be a link in the description where you can, book in a call with us. We'll chat with you about specifically how we can help your brand. And then we can jump into the account, build out all this AI tech stuff, but also handle all of the marketing and the stuff that actually brings revenue in for the brand. So that link in the description to book a call with us is completely free. It's right there. Grab that and then book in a call, find a time, and we'll chat about specifically how we can help your brand. And if you want our full course video on email and SMS marketing for e-commerce businesses, that video is popping up on the screen here. At the very least, if you found this helpful at all, subscribe, like the video, drop a comment, and I'll see you in the next one.